this is Amy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you just a real simple design that I'm doing on a new project. This is going to be a wind chime. So I've already cut the bottom of it off. I've washed it, obviously taken the labels off, gone over it with rubbing alcohol and tried to get as much of the goopy stuff off as I could. I am going to be painting my design using a number 16 Amagic flat brush, a number 16 Amagic round brush, a fine liner by Westonia, and then a clay ball maker. All these items will be listed below, so you're welcome to purchase through those links. I'm going to be using Thicket, Magenta, Happy Green, Wicker White, and School Bus Yellow. All these are FolkArt paints. I always use FolkArt paints on my glass, and it's a mixture of, or I should say combination, because it's not that I'm mixing the paint. It's a combination of multi-surface and enamel paints. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. I am going just to do the front of the bottle for you for the video purpose. Getting the round brush full of the magenta, and I'm just going to touch into the white. Now this one I will need to make sure that it is covered well, because I am planning to sell this one. So that will be different than me just doing the video and to show you the design and not worried about the coverage. Just keep in mind, anytime you do glass painting, the thicker you put your design on, the more durable that design is going to be. Now with this type of paint, I know I get a lot of questions about if you have to do any preparation on the glass. And I think some people are thinking that you have to put some kind of coverage coat or something like that on it, because there have been paints in the past where you needed to do that. This one you don't. Just make sure you clean your bottle well and go over it with the rubbing alcohol, just to ensure that you've gotten all the debris off of it or any grease. Yeah, because your hands do have a lot of grease, especially if you're like me and you use a lot of lotion. You know, that can be can affect anything that you touch, of course. Alright, so again, just simple strokes. If you feel like you need to go over it again, just either give it some dry time, hit it with a heat gun, hair dryer, and go over it. Alright, so at this point, I've gotten my basic design painted on the front. I am going to stick my fine liner into the Thicket and into the Happy Green. I just like to roll it a little bit just to make sure I got a lot of the excess paint off. So I'm going to come in here, just put little stems in. If you want it to be where you're just actually painting around the flowers with leaves and not doing a stem, you can do that as well. This one I'm going to include the stem. Come down here. Now keep in mind too, these will be being hung like this. So, I mean, it's not going to be upside down or anything. It'll be like this. And I'm trying to think, because I haven't actually put any together to show you per se. I have one that I've done, but I didn't do any painting on it, and I'm not sure. Still kind of playing with it, so I'm not sure that that's exactly how I'm going to leave it. You know, when you come up with ideas, a lot of times you play with it and then you make some changes and come back and then come up with your final product. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Now typically I would clear up the stem of the neck of the bottle. For the purpose of the video, I'm not going to go into all that. But what I'm going to do is get my big brush here, I'm going to do one side in the happy green, one side into the thicket, and then I'm going to do a blending stroke. Now, as I go, I just keep coming back and tapping, and I don't always do blending strokes. That's apparently, that must be how I'm getting some thicker coverage, because I do it that way. And the reason I say that is I don't really pay too much attention to it, but I have people asking me, and I think, well, that must be what I'm doing, because I do get it on pretty thick, and a lot of people struggle with that. Okay, so I'm going to go over this again, because if you notice, my inside here was pretty open in the center, and I don't want that, so I'm going to go back over the leaf in general just to get it together and come back down this way. And then I can go over it again, which I probably will. Just go ahead and do another leaf, kind of swing it down that way. Now I can come over this petal. The only fear I have right now is because it is wet. So I'll be doing wet on wet. It could pull the pink in here, and there it goes. So if you don't mind that, you can do that. Now can I get a lot of that pink out? Probably. If I just kind of touch it. If I don't mind there being pink in it, then I'll just leave it the way it is and continue on. But I also too want to make sure that if I put a stem through the flower, the leaf, that it covers it well too. So if you want to avoid this part, then either hit it with a hair dryer or give it some dry time so that you're not doing wet on wet. That will avoid that. Now I do have some pink still on my brush. I'm going to come down here and just, once again, I'm just pushing the brush down and just moving it to create the shape that I want. And I'm not going to go over that leaf because we saw what happened with that one. Well, I guess I did just go over it a little bit, but it's not as, the paint is not as thick on this one, so it's not pulling up as much as the other one did. Just fine. If you want to add some interest to your bottle, you know, switch around how you're creating the leaves. You can do the dark on the outside part, or can kind of switch it around to where you do some of it on the outside, some of it on the inside. Makes it interesting if you do it that way. So I'm going to come up here and do another one, just pushing it down. And I'm not focusing on the neck of the bottle right now, so I'm just going to, it's going to come up here a little bit, but not all the way. Sometimes you just have to tap on your glass with the paint just to get the coverage to be the way you want it. And I can come over here, do the same thing, or I can have it down and wiggle it. It's up to me. Or I can go like this, or I can come around and go like this with the darker paint. However you want to do it. Okay? Alright, so we have some coverage like that. I could use a smaller brush, but I'm not going to. I just kind of wipe some of the paint off. Now I'm coming through and I'm going to just dip the brush into the happy green. And I'm going to come through here on some of my vines and just put just some real easy. And it's okay that it has the pink in it. I'm fine with that. And if you're not, then give it some dry time. Just that easy, really. Now it's got a lot of pink in it, but I knew that was going to happen. It's okay. Put some over there. See, personally, I kind of like to have a little bit of the main color in my leaves at times. I think it's pretty. Now, if you want to come down here, you can put a big leaf down at this point. Hold on for a second here. Some more paint to my thing. So I kind of have the stem down here, but when putting a leaf into it, kind of gives it a different illusion. And then I can come back here and do the same, or I can just do some of my little leaves. Whatever way you want to do it. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do is go back into my little fine liner. Again, just sticking the brush in and kind of rolling it. And I'm going to come back here and use my liner to attach these leaves to the stems. And I can kind of just do some little squigglies off of this. Make it a little, I don't want them right on top of each other, but and this one can come like that. And again, if I just want to have some little stragglies, I don't even know what to call them. If you know what to call them, give me some suggestions here. And this is going to be outside, so what I'm going to do once I get finished with this, bake it at 350 degrees in the oven, and then I'll allow it to cool. Once it does, I will spray it with some outdoor varnish just to make sure that the paint stays on nicely since it'll be outside. And hopefully it'll hold up for a while. I mean, anything that's outside is not going to last forever. You have to realize that. But just to give it some coatings and some added protection, that's what I will do. Like I said, and if you just want to do some, these are kind of thicker, you can come up like that. Just come through them. It doesn't matter. Like that. And then the last thing I'm going to do is take my clay ball maker. I'm going to just stick it into the school bus yellow, just like that. And then I will put this down here, just touch it. Now if I need it to be bigger, I just keep tapping on it until I get it the size or get the coverage that I need on it. And if I want the center to be bigger or smaller, I probably need to wash it off, but larger, I can start just tapping and just create until I get it to where I want it. And there you have it. Pretty darn easy. Alright, there you go. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you give me a big thumbs up. New to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. And when you're done watching the video, if you would take a moment to share this video on your social network with all your family and friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Until the next time, please stay safe.